Do you know how to edit these, or does Schwammy do it?
Shaway knows. I'm trying to learn. No fucks. Dude, I did that ad read for 3 Chai.
Yeah.
And you flushed her right at the end. It was hilarious.
Slowest week of the sports year? Absolutely not. Askcasters episode 5 at Askcasters, ASSCASTERS, where you can find us on Twitter. Apparently our good old friend Scrode on the other side of the mic here complaining about our levels. Are we good?
We're good. So it was a little sharp coming out of the gate there.
Fair enough. Well, as long as we sound good and I'm not blowing your ears out, we will continue. Shout out to our listeners, our Askcasters, domestically and internationally. We appreciate the downloads coming from Wichita, Kansas City, Dallas, San Jose, I believe somewhere in Washington, New York, I believe at some point. Internationally, got to give a shout out to Russia and
Belgium.
Belgium.
We're sorry about the ladies today.
Belgium, you've been one of our biggest downloaders up to this point. We were going to give you like some significant props for your 1-0 win over Italy a couple days ago, and we just saw that you lost a women's soccer heartbreaker to Sweden. So apologies there.
Your listenership makes us want to travel there next summer. We are planning a European trip, so we might be hanging out with you, Belgium.
And if the fact that we're not shouting out Belgium women's soccer doesn't suggest that we will or will not follow your team, that should be all the evidence that you need. Again, supposedly the slowest week in the sports calendar, but I think there's plenty to talk about. We've only got a 2-man booth today for the Askcasters podcast. It's myself, Andy, as the A of our acronym ASS, and I'm going to pitch it over to the only other man in the booth today, Scrode. Scrode, how are you?
Man, we kind of got the summertime blues going on. I mean, we had a full, lively booth last week, and we had C-Dangle, and we had Shaway with us, and now it's just you and I, but things are all gravy, baby. We got a lot to talk about. The title of this podcast is, quote, Dad is left for milk, but never coming back. So Shaway, he's dad. He usually runs the nuts and bolts of this fucking operation, but he's gone getting drunk on trains and finding a fake Brazil Jesus in Arkansas. So God bless him.
Eureka Springs, Arkansas. Is that where that young man finds himself?
Is that where Eureka's castle is?
I don't know.
Somewhere in Arkansas.
So anyway, shout out to Schwammy out at Fort Smith or wherever the hell you're at this weekend. Again, although it says it's the slowest week in the sports calendar, we are going to disagree. We have got more NHL free agency. After all of the shakeout from Johnny Hockey's move out of Calgary, we now have news of Matthew Tkachuk moving out of Calgary. We'll walk you through the specifics of that deal. And then after that, really not a ton of additional NHL free agency, so we'll transition, probably talk a little bit of the championship that took place not too long ago. Winner from Australia, Mr. Mullet, Cam Smith.
Thanks, babe. Made me a little cash over the weekend.
We'll if at the discretion of Scrode, we'll walk through not only the victory of Cam Smith and what that means for professional golf, but also what that means for Scrode's pocketbook as well.
And the craps table eventually.
And the craps table as well. Also, we have teased a little bit in the previous weeks that we would discuss some LIV golf. We have not. We might this week.
The biggest domino fell.
Correct.
For me.
David Flaherty. We'll get there. Transitioning out of golf, I'll walk you through some baseball stuff. We have talked nil baseball up to this point, but again, the All-Star break is a good halfway point to kind of reflect and see where we're at, what teams are performing, what to expect moving forward. there's some tremendous winning and losing streaks that have been taking place in Major League Baseball that position some folks in interesting positions. And Boston Red Sox gave up more than 3 touchdowns last night to Toronto. I guess we could hit on that if we absolutely needed to. And then we're fact checkers. We got some more football to talk about. We dabbled in on episode 4 of the podcast. We talked probably for a good 30 minutes of football. We talked about the Chiefs. We talked about the Green Bay Packers. And we're going to do a little bit of fact-checking on some things that I had mentioned about Aaron Rodgers and some of the receivers that he has thrown to in the past. And this has all come up because we're trying to figure out the worth of Devontae Adams. And if we go beyond that, the topics won't have anything to do with sports anymore. They could have to do with Stranger Things. They could have to do with Megalodon documentaries. They could have to do with anything that that Scrode has been streaming in the last week.
Free energy documentaries.
I'm not sure what that means, but I didn't watch that.
We'll get there, baby.
So let's go right off the top. Let's go to hockey. NHL free agency. Johnny Hockey. We talked about that significantly last week. Talked about his move from Calgary. I guess it wasn't unexpected that he was going to move from Calgary, but was unexpected that he ended up in Columbus, leaving Matthew Tkachuk on the roster, and now Matthew Tkachuk gone. Walk us through, Scrode. Walk us through where he went, the players in that deal. I'm seeing, I guess, a little bit as you walk us through some of the players that are in that deal. Maybe this isn't a huge loss for Calgary, so talk about that.
No, I don't think it's a huge loss for Calgary. Maybe more of a moral loss because they lost their 2 star players on their top line. However, they got a great defenseman. Well, not great defenseman. We have a Norris vote receiving defenseman in Weegar. The last two years, he was somewhere in the 7th and 8th in the voting. So not the top, but still receiving votes as one of the top defensemen in the league. Huberdeau matched Tkachuk in points last season. He set the record for left winger points in a season, I believe. I think Calgary came out great on the deal. Florida, I don't know what you benefit. I mean, I guess Tkachuk's younger, but you lose Weegar, who is a kind of a staple in your defensive back, and you're already weak there. That is that's their Achilles heel right now, and they just lost a big part of their defense. So I don't see it as strong as a trade for Florida as everyone might think.
So I think I'm seeing some similar reactions on Twitter, at least. Again, the source of all things real. Looking just from, I'm sure he won't mention Puck Daddy, Greg Wyshynski on Twitter. Huberdeau had a higher points per at 2.68 points per game than Tkachuk at 2.46. And was Gaudreau, was he part of that deal as well? It looks like they've got him spec'd out at 2.55 points per game in the last 3 seasons. So let me just walk through that one more time.
Points per 60?
Yes, points per 60. So Huberdeau had a higher points per 60 at 2.68 than Tkachuk at 2.46.
I mean, is Tkachuk's toughness worth losing that much? I guess that's what you have to think about for Florida, and I don't think it is. Tkachuk's a great player. I'd love to have him. Like I said, I'd love to have him for the Devils. We struck out again, but
you landed Palat.
We struck out again. I don't think it's as great of a move for Florida as everyone thinks it is. I don't.
So, what, in your opinion, what initiated this deal for Tkachuk to get out of Calgary? I guess based off of what you're telling me, it doesn't sound like this was probably something initiated from the Florida side. This was more of an initiation from either Calgary and or Tkachuk in some fashion to get out of Calgary, correct?
Well, I think I think Kachuk was kind of pivoting off of whatever Goudreau did. Goudreau made his decision, and Kachuk was in the talks for a contract extension, which he received. I believe it's a 8x9 contract.
What does that mean?
8 years, $9 million. I believe it's somewhere in the neighborhood there. Again, never quote me on anything, Askcasters. But yeah, I don't know. Kachuk goes there. I don't know if it's an organizational issue. I know that Calgary's trying to get a new arena. I don't know. I really don't know.
So what does Calgary have left?
They got Mangiopane. I probably pronounced his last name wrong. They have Markstrom in goal, who's great, keeping the puck out. I don't think Calgary's going to be that bad off. They're going to get Weegar, who's a solid defenseman. Huberdeau is going to fill in, I think, nicely for the remaining years he has left on that contract. I don't think they're going to compete for the West as much as they did. Maybe they have to make a few more moves, but for losing Goudreau and for losing Kachuk all in the same offseason, I don't think they came out as bad as they could have.
So remind me, I know they were a playoff team last year, but remind me, how far did they get last year? I feel like they were an exciting team going into the playoffs, and then that flame kind of burned.
Hey!
I feel like they lost their steam and got bounced fairly early in the proceedings, and I don't even remember it being particularly competitive.
Holy crap. There we go. Sorry, what were you saying?
So just talking about where Calgary was at last year with the players that they had in place with Johnny Hockey and Matthew Tkachuk. I remember they were in the playoffs, but I don't really remember them making much noise.
Oh, they did. They got to the second round in the Battle of Alberta, and they had a hell of a series. I mean, I think it went 5 or 6 games, but I mean, every game was just intensely fascinating to watch. I mean, just up and down hockey.
The series against Edmonton.
Yes.
Okay.
They have a lot of talent. They were looking to be a force in the West, and then I don't think they're going to be that force anymore. I think they're not far off. They have a few moves to make to get themselves there. But for losing your 2 best players, 2 franchise players in the same offseason, Calgary, hats off to you. I think you did a great job.
So maybe borderline playoff team next season?
Let's pull them up. Let's pull up the old teams. This is where Shaway would play Jeopardy music or
or anything.
Or anything, yeah. We're not as talented as Shaway, so we're just kind of bullshitting our way through it. Yeah, we're definitely going to have to cut this out.
Okay. So I'm showing Calgary, at least as far as what they did in the season last year, regular season, showing in the Pacific that they were at the tops of the division. They had 111 points. And I mean, man, Edmonton was behind them, but not necessarily particularly close. Edmonton had 104 as far as their points versus the Calgary that had 111. So, I mean, it looks, I guess, going in that they had a solid regular season team. Goal differential, something that we talk about all the time. Schwammy makes fun of us for, but big thing. Plus 85 goal differential.
They can put the puck in the net, and like I said, Markstrom is a great goalie. Now that you're kind of looking at things, yeah, maybe borderline. I think they're a better team than Vegas. They're a better team than Vancouver. Winnipeg has fallen off.
Sorry to our listeners out in San Jose, probably not going to be relevant to this conversation.
Yeah, San Jose not looking.
Seattle also. I know we have a download or two from you guys. Sorry, you guys got some work to do.
Yes. So Calgary, I think they'll probably compete for a wild card at least. But I mean, LA's getting better. I expect big things from LA next year. Calgary, I don't think they came out too bad.
Fair enough. So, free agency wise, NHL, anything else you want to touch on?
My Devils, I can
feel the pain.
It just hurts me to go through this offseason. I know we got the big prize Dougie Hamilton last year's offseason, and the wording Gaudreau used that he was thankful that Columbus called at the last second.
Oh no, I don't think we've talked about
Oh yeah, part. He mentioned that Columbus called at the last second, and I believe it was on the Spit and Chicklets podcast. He mentioned that Columbus called last second and made an offer, and he was grateful. And it sounds like New Jersey wasn't the attractive offer. And in previous years, their front office has been sought after from the whole league with Lou Lamoriello.
Say that again.
Their front office has been amazing.
New Jersey.
Yes.
Okay, so walk us through that.
And even though they have a Yankees kind of old school mentality, the Steinbrenner, no facial hair, no tattoos kind of thing. Players love playing in New Jersey. You listen to any previous players, they love playing for New Jersey. But now, given what Gaudreau said and not landing Tkachuk, I don't know if my trust is failing in not failing. It's waning in the front office. I don't think we have the winning pieces. I think Jack is the future for sure. Jackie Hughes. I believe he's the future. Nico is a great captain for us. But I don't think right now we have the pieces in place to be successful.
Okay, so this might be the last time for quite some time that we talk about NHL free agency. I could be wrong on that. There could be some moves that come up here in the next couple of weeks as we get into the later stages of summer where we might talk about NHL free agency again and the Devils. But where we leave off right now, where are the Devils, your team, which is why we're talking about them, where are they prospect-wise next season? Are they going to fight for a playoff berth, or are they still too far away?
They're not going to fight for a playoff berth. They had one of the worst goaltending situations in the league last year. So they get Vanacek. We'll see how he does. They signed him to a 3-year extension. So we'll see how that goes, but I don't think they have. I think they're too young. They don't have the pieces there yet. And
was Vanacek even a starter?
No, he wasn't.
Oh.
No.
Oh.
Samsonov was the starter and got injured, so Vanacek played an overwhelming amount of games this year. Mackenzie Blackwood is getting healthy for the New Jersey Devils, so their game plan is to have Mackenzie Blackwood and Vanacek split time. But Mackenzie Blackwood struggled with injuries and struggled with his confidence, to be completely honest, last season. So their goaltending situation still needs to be proven. It's not anything to be sought after.
It sounds like they got quite a liability potentially in that
for sure
into next season. So, anything else you got on your Devils?
No, we need to get on from that disappointment in my life.
So, transitioning into golf, which we have not talked much about at all in our for podcast. The Open Championship just wrapped up. I don't know. Cam Smith is the winner. Not totally unexpected. 22-1. We'll walk through that here in just a second. There's that was the last major for golf this season, and I think golf's got a good thing going for it. I mean, we love Tiger, revolutionary generational golfer, but obviously getting up there in age, we can't trust on him anymore to bring these majors home. Even though, from a gambling perspective and a fan perspective, it's very, very interesting to watch. I threw down on Tiger to win just because of the unbelievable payoff. Obviously wasn't anywhere close, which was a little bit surprising at St. Andrews at the old course this time around, because some of the thought was with Tiger specifically that the first two majors he was able to make the cut, and the basically the altitude or the changes in elevation as you walk those two courses that he played for the first two majors had significantly more elevations to provide stress on his body and his legs as he walked those courses. St. Andrews has really never been that way, so the thought was that maybe he might have a prayer, but did not shoot well. But transitioning away from Tiger too, who actually the players that were able to win championships this year, all 4 championships won by players less than 30 years old. So golf is in a good spot. So let's talk about that.
Well, and Rory, I think the understory is Rory. There was a stat out there, and again, Ask Casters, I am not a sucker for details, so I'm going to get it a little wrong probably. But something like he outscored like 98th percentile of the last or the 4 majors, and still didn't come away with one.
I do know that stat that you're referencing. So Rory...
Was I even close?
No, you were close. So Rory basically won or outscored more than 98% of golfers in the field for the 4 majors this specific year, and ran away with 0 majors.
I mean, you hurt to see that for Rory, and I love Rory. I kind of, when I was starting to really fall in love with golf, Rory was getting big. He was just coming up on the scene. So it really hurt to watch him, and to see he was putting the ball well during the British Open. He just never got one to fall, it seemed. I mean, maybe not putting well, but he was putting to where you thought a few would fall in his favor to win it, and they just never, gravity never took over.
So to that point, I think I may have a stat that will shine some light on exactly what you're saying. So going into the 4th round of the Open Championship, which just took place, so Rory was tied with Victor Hovland at, like, I want to say it was 13 under. I think that was the number that they were at. Maybe a little bit higher.
I think it was somewhere around there, yeah.
Somewhere in there. But anyway, tied for the lead. For the purpose of this stat, that's why that's relevant. Rory became the first player, I believe, in major championship history to lead or co-lead going into the final round and hit every green in regulation in the final round and lose the championship. So he was there, obviously. He was getting the balls onto the dance surface that he needed to, just could not hit a putt.
Couldn't dance.
Could not? Well, I mean, he was dancing. He just failed while he was dancing.
Yeah, I mean, semantics. Yeah, it was tough to watch, but it was also, on the flip side, kind of dealing with golf's identity problem. It was good to see Cam Smith cash in. He's been lurking in the last couple majors, plus 2,200 to start out on, I think it was Wednesday night, I think. But his putting on the opposite spectrum was just amazing. He seemed like he hit that stretch on the final round, and it just seemed like he couldn't miss, and he was unflappable. It was great to watch. I'm glad he hit his strike, his streak or whatever you want to call it. He found whatever it was. got his major. Seems like a very likable dude. You gotta love a mullet, and
Gotta love the mullet.
gotta love the mullet and the whiskery mustache he has going on. And then saying or asking or trying to figure out how many beers fit in the claret jug. I think he can get more than 2 in there. I think he can get more than 2. Depends. I mean, I've seen it in real life. Like, I've been up close to it. You can get more than 2. I'm thinking you can get about 32 ounces of beer in there.
What you're saying is you've actually seen the claret jug in person.
Yeah, yeah. No big deal. But
right, this is like Schwammy, like knowing all the coaches in hockey that have ever coached in the history of the game.
Yeah, I mean, this is my one cool thing. You can probably fit more than 3. I mean, I'm going 32.
Mini pints.
Yeah, that's a quart. That would be your Q to your P's and Q's.
I don't measure in those liters that you speak of.
Well, what's a 30 pack? 30 times 12.
That's a lot of math.
Yeah, I can't do that.
So, yeah, Cam Smith, good to see him. There were a lot of big names at the top of the leaderboard. Dustin Johnson, you want to talk about odds going into the Open. So Cam Smith won it at 22-1, which you hit twice, which we didn't talk about the awesomeness of how you did that. We can if we need to.
I mean, it was pretty awesome.
So, okay, so are you willing to disclose?
Oh, yeah. So, boys and girls, I kind of figure that Cam Smith he's been doing well. So, and even I even thought, like, the last major, I text our friend Miss Lindsay in Scotland. I text her and I said, "Hey, Cam Smith is the real deal."
Hashtag Lindsay, we're gonna reach out to you later.
We already have, but
sorry, Lindsay.
Our heat map
we'll
hasn't.
reach out to you again.
Yeah, our heat map hasn't shown anything in Scotland yet, so we're heartbroken. But yeah, you and Christian need to listen in. But anyway, I text Lindsay and I said Cameron Smith is the real deal, and so I ended up betting on him. And my phone froze when I bet on him. So I hit the button twice, and I ended up betting double what I would have on the whole field. And watched nervously.
Double nervous.
Yeah, watched doubly nervous for the next 4 days, and so I came away a winner there, and then thought, you know what? Let's just go to the craps table and see how we do, and then we did better. So it was a great week.
It sounds like a lot of the folks that have bet on golf actually had that bet in for Cam Smith, which kind of drives me nuts because I did not have that bet in for Cam Smith, which hurt a little bit. I came into the final day with Rory and Victor Hovland, who I bet at plus 5,000. They were tied for the lead, both Rory and Victor Hovland going into the final round, but I was not excited going into that final round because I just knew that I was going to get my heart ripped out based off of how well Rory was playing. And the names behind Rory and Victor Hovland going into the last day, those were big names. So, like, folks like Cam Smith coming up there and shooting as well as they did, not completely unexpected.
Scotty was up there. Scotty Scheffler was up there. Never made a big push. Dustin
Johnson gave it a run. He was 30-1 before tee off, so he was somebody that people felt that could make some, not only make a run, but make some serious money at the same time.
Well,
is that the transition?
I don't think he needs the money anymore, but that's what it's about for him, I guess. I mean, I don't know how you want to tackle this one.
So it's LIV Golf.
It's LIV Golf, yeah.
How do you want to tackle this?
I mean, I've never been offered $100 million to play anything. I also have never won $10 million for anything, or $2 million. So I have no idea what it's like to have that amount of money. But it seems like at some point you're pretty comfortable with how much money you have. Where you can make a decision saying, you know what, this excess money coming from nefarious backgrounds is not for me.
Unless you're Phil Mickelson, and then we know you've spent all your money previously and you need to make more money.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So, I don't know. I don't want to put a holier than thou perspective on this, but it hurts. It hurts as a fantasy, and I guess I can say that it hurts as a fantasy. And the one that really killed me was David Faraday. I have been following David Faraday since I was 15 and really started getting into golf. Heard about his story, heard about him losing the Scottish Open jug, heard about his recovery story from alcohol, which resonated with me. I love David Faraday, and I haven't seen his comments on his decision to go to LIV. I'm curious to see, but that one hurt. That one hurt.
Yeah. So, man, it's frustrating. I didn't think I hate talking about this because I hope LIV golf fails like tremendously, and I hope they do it sooner rather than later. I don't know if that's exactly. I think eventually LIV golf is going to fail, and I'll give you the reason for that here in just a second. But let me walk you through when we're talking about the state of LIV golf right now. The event that they've got coming here, let's see, is this week or next week? I think next week. The event in Bedminster for LIV golf. Here's the people that are
Bedminster, owned by look it up, Passcasters.
So Dustin Johnson 7-1 odds, Bryson DeChambeau Science 10-1, Mr. Answer from Mexico, I forget his first name. Abraham Answer at the moment, 12-1. Louis Oosthuizen, Taylor Gooch at 14-1, Patrick Reed 16-1, Brooks Koepka down at 20-1. I still don't know if he's healthy. Brandon Grace, Jason Kokrak, Paul Casey, Sergio Garcia, who left his European tour.
Is Jason Kokrak his actual name?
Yeah, it's his name. Kokrak. It's Kokrak is his name. He's a good golfer. He's at 25-1, and Phil Mickelson all the way down there at 150-1. But the point being is that that's not a shitty list of golfers. I mean, those are names that those are names that most people that follow golf know. So, again, I think that LIV golf is eventually going to fail because you're not going to be able to have Dustin Johnson and Bryson DeChambeau win week after week, and you're going to have some of these other names that you just do not know win week after week. But LIV golf's got some momentum.
You're not going to get stories like Zach Johnson, who at one point was living out of his car, trying to make it on tour, and then ends up winning 2 majors. You're not going to get stories like that on the LIV golf tournament.
I don't think anybody that watches golf is going to make a distinction about what the golfer's story is, for the most part.
True. I'm an avid golfer. I mean, our grandpa got us into golf way back when. So I'm a little personally offended by it, but I don't know.
So I will admit that I'm a little bit surprised that I did not think that LIV golf was going to continue to have the momentum of bringing golfers in, maybe not on a weekly basis, but in every other week basis where they've got an announcement that they've got people coming in to LIV golf. So from that standpoint, I am surprised, but I do feel that, like, if we look from the long term, looking at what golf looks like in 24 months, 36 months, and even beyond that, there's LIV golf is the new shiny toy. It's a new shiny toy for multiple reasons, including political, and we're not going to get into politics, but the new shiny toy eventually is going to get to the point where people are just like not fascinated by it anymore, and I think people are going to come back to the PGA Tour and recognize that it's the standard.
it's the best players in the world.
For the most part. Brooks Koepka.
Let's look at the 3M. Okay,
Brooks
I have
Koepka, multi-major winner.
So here's the top. This is the 3M tour or the 3M Open.
3M,
excuse me.
3M the tournament.
Yes, this is the the leaderboard on the 3M tournament right now,
which is a PGA sanctioned event.
PGA sanctioned event, but like one of the least publicized and followed in the whole tour,
and least participated by major golf.
Yes, because it's right after the the Open. It's right after the Open. No one wants to play after making the plane ride, so it's not the highlight of the PGA season. Grillo, he's number 2. I don't know who the first dude appears.
Sergio Grillo?
No, Emilio Grillo.
Okay.
Or I think that's his first name. I might be completely wrong. Dude I've never heard about is 10 under. Tied with them, Tony Finau. Stuart Sink. I know he's old, but still up there and tied for 5th. Sungjae M at 10.
A good golfer.
Hell of a golfer. Danny Willett is 13th. Maybe not so much in the teens here. Let's go to the top 20. Okay, so maybe not the most star-studded, but Tony Finau is a get.
Man, Tony Finau, like those names I just gave you from Live Golf, Tony Finau would just mix in as another one of those type of golfers. I mean, he's not a Brooks Koepka, he's not a Bryson DeChambeau, he's not a Phil Mickelson, he's not even a Sergio Garcia.
He has something that they don't, which makes him a way better catch.
Which is?
It's his skin color. He is, I'm not trying to bring race into it, but he is a much more marketable figure for the PGA or whoever gets him, because you can market him to more people.
You even just said right in your sentence right there, you said, or whoever gets him.
Exactly. Whoever gets him, but he is still, his marketability is, I think it's better than Dustin Johnson's.
Oh, man, I don't know about that. I mean, Dustin Johnson's won major tournaments. And he's got
One?
But he's also got the aura of Wayne Gretzky's daughter. I mean, believe it or not, that's a thing in his popularity.
True, but he also has the aura of not necessarily being approved of by Wayne Gretzky.
Even more reason to watch.
I think I would rather have Tony Finau. And I think
Dustin Johnson on your tour?
Yeah.
Oh, well.
Who would you would really, right now, you'd rather have Dustin Johnson going in the next 10 years?
Absolutely.
Holy shit. That's dumb.
I mean, Dustin Johnson's proved he can win majors. He was closer in the Open Championship. He was closer to winning that than Tony Finau was this last go around. Dustin Johnson was in the top 10 for quite some time until he fell off to I don't know where he ended up finishing, 20 or 25th, but Tony Finau wasn't anywhere close. I don't even know if Tony Finau made the cut.
Let's look where Tony Finau ended up.
In the Open Championship.
Let's look.
Jeopardy music.
We can't afford it. Okay. Here are the official World Golf rankings.
That's not what you were looking for.
It was easier, though. Okay. So this is bullshit. Fuck you. Dustin Johnson is 16th in the world.
What is funny about that?
Guess what Tony Finau is?
I don't know, 4?
17.
I love it. I win that argument. I'll take it.
All right, what's a wash?
I'll take it.
Anyway, I would rather have Tony Finau, though. And I like Tony Finau better. He looks like I'd rather go get a Arnold Palmer with him than Dustin Johnson for sure, because Dustin Johnson's going to put a roofie in it.
Harold Varner III has been just as successful as Tony Finau has in the last couple of years in golf, and to your point, they could be marketed the same way if we're going to rely on minority status. So, I mean, Tony Finau's not that much ahead of Harold Varner.
Hold on,
and I think
he's 37.
Varner, I think, has got a top 10 in the major within the last year.
Finau does, I'm pretty sure as well, though. I'd still rather have, I don't know, maybe that's just my personal gravitation towards him. He's a more relatable dude. I don't relate with getting snow under my nose and falling down the stairs. I don't do that.
Maybe that's why I like it.
I mean, at one point in time, that was a part of my life. I mean, I'd never made enough money to do snow, but that's not something that appeals to me. And Asscasters, this break is brought to you by 3chai.com. Guys, 3chai.com is an amazing source for all of your Delta 8 and Delta 9 needs. Guys, I use Delta 8 most every day. It helps me relax, helps me calm down, helps me sleep. I've noticed I'm way happier with it, which has been a struggle for me. Sleep and depression have been a struggle for me. So check out 3Chai, guys. It's 3chi.com. They will hook you guys up if you have any questions. They're great people to work with. So talk to the people at 3chai.com.
Okay, so anything else golf-wise you want to talk about?
I don't know. Do you want to put it out there for the Asscasters that we're kind of looking at going and seeing the Open next year, or what?
No, that'd be fun. That'd be fun to do a little remote casting from overseas and have our remote Asscaster Lindsay talk and get involved. That'd be awesome.
Yeah. So yeah, we definitely are wanting to. We can take this thing overseas. We're trying to get Andy we're trying to get his passport renewed right now, which he's failed to make the appointment twice or three times.
I had to reschedule it twice.
Did you reschedule or miss it?
No, I rescheduled.
Oh, okay.
Except for the last time.
There it is.
And I just threw it off the calendar. I'm busy.
Yeah. I mean, Andy, you haven't been to the UK. I have, but you've been to Brazil. Or, I mean, have you thought about it? Have you been too busy with selling the fake grasses that are...
No, I'm going to definitely get my passport updated. It just did not happen in the last month when I told myself it would.
Dude, so I looked at my passport picture, and I was flush.
Yikes. Mine was so old, to tell you why I have to renew my passport. Mine was so old I had an eyebrow ring in my picture.
No way.
Yeah.
Oh my god, that's awesome.
I had a baby blue eyebrow ring in.
Oh my god, that's...
Which is why they make you renew passports, because I don't look like that guy anymore.
No, you wear jeans and a quarter zip when it is 104 degrees.
But it's 68 and sunny inside.
It's not even really sunny. We have the shades kind of drawn. Because we're fucking vampires.
Oh. Okay, so what do you want to move on to? You want to talk about some baseball? You want to talk about some football?
Your call, buddy.
Why don't I, in the essence of popularity, let's talk a little bit about football. Sorry, baseball.
Well, it sucks.
So, I did make some statements on last week's podcast about Aaron Rodgers and Aaron Rodgers receivers, and my argument that I was making, that I didn't do a great job of fact checking on the fly, was basically here's where this is coming from.
You fucked up, huh?
No, I was more than correct. I feel very good about the argument.
Oh, okay.
The argument is that Aaron Rodgers has made many average to slightly above average receivers elite wide receivers. And when they leave Green Bay, that is when they lose some of at least their numbers. And the reason this came into play last week on the podcast was because I was asked about my Las Vegas Raiders, who I guess apparently I don't have, folks don't like that my allegiances don't stay along with teams, but if they move out of cities, hashtag St. Louis Rams FU, and they go to a city like, I don't know, Las Vegas, where I go twice a year, I'm going to follow the Vegas Raiders.
I'm over it. I mean, the whole fandom shit, like, I get loyalty, but shit changes.
Speaking of shit changes, Green Bay wide receivers. Here we go. So my statement was on the podcast last week is that Aaron Rodgers turned Jordy Nelson, the football and farmer, into a 1,000-yard wide receiver. Now, I was right, so I feel very good about that. But would you like? Should I even ask you, Scrode? Should I ask you how many seasons he had that he went above 1,000, or do you just want me to name off the amazingness?
We gotta guess, boys and girls.
So so here we go. He had, it looks like about.
Oh, hold on, can I guess?
I'm just telling you how long he played in Green Bay.
Oh, okay.
So in his 11 years at Green Bay, excuse me, because that last one's Oakland. So in his 10 years at Green Bay, would you like to take a gander at how? God, I hope you're not looking at these in front of your computer. But tell me how many 1,000-yard receiving seasons Jordy Nelson, wide receiver, K-State had.
3.
It's north of 3.
5.
It's 4.
God damn it.
But here's the thing, though. So Jordy Nelson, Green Bay wide receiver, starting as early as 2008 all the way until 2017, which was his last season with Green Bay. The following season, he ended up in Oakland Raiders, #Go Vegas. He had 4 seasons north of 1,000 receiving yards, but not only was he north of 1,000 receiving yards, he was well north of that. So 2011, he's got 1,263 yards. 2013, he jumps up to 1,314 yards. 2014 was a season that looks like he was a Pro Bowler. He's got a couple different awards for his 2014 season. He had 1,519 yards in 2014. Followed that up in 2016. He must have been injured 2015, which I think that does sound right.
Yeah, I think he fucked something up, yeah.
So I guess we skip a year going to 2016.
He hurt himself brandishing a cow.
Or the cow hurt him, brandishing the cow. So he had a career-high 14 touchdowns. Also, it looks like he was the Associated Press Player of the Year? Yeah, something. He must have had a hell of a season. So 14 touchdowns and 1,257 yards in 2016. So my point about Jordy Nelson being a 1,000-yard receiver stands firm.
Can you really? I mean, he spent the 10 years in Green Bay. And he spent 1 year in Oakland. Of course, he was old in Oakland. I don't think that's a fair bolster to your argument.
Well, we have many more receivers to talk about.
Okay, let's go.
Here's a good one. To your point about a receiver that he had that ended up somewhere else and maybe didn't do as well. Come on, Football Reference. From the University of Kentucky, Randall Cobb. Let's see here. Taking a look at the numbers for Randall Cobb. He made Randall Cobb a Pro Bowler. He made Randall Cobb in 2014, 1,287 yards and a Pro Bowl appearance for Randall Cobb. And so he's almost got the same timeline as Jordy Nelson as far as like start and end date of your career in Green Bay. He starts in 2011, ends his tenure in Green Bay at the year 2018, and then he moves on to a collection of teams. But let's look here. His numbers, obviously, I just told you he was as high as 1,287 yards in Green Bay. Then he moves to Dallas, where he had 828 yards, and then God knows who threw him the ball in Houston in 2020 for a total of
Houston would have been
441 yards. Was that Deshaun Watson?
That was Deshaun
throwing
Watson.
The ball?
Yeah.
And he had 400 41 yards.
Was it?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know who else was cool. Well, it had to have been Deshaun Watson.
Let's check. Oh, he's not a hockey player. God damn it. Oh well. Yeah, I think it was Deshaun Watson.
I think it was Deshaun Watson.
Yep.
All right, final guy to prove my point that Aaron Rodgers has made many receivers. Hold on just a second. Dun, dun, dun. Probably would help if I spelled Donald Driver's name right. Donald Driver. You want to take a shot at his college? I thought Randall Cobb was cool because he was from Kentucky. You have any feel for where Randall Cobb's from?
Is it? I have no idea.
Yeah, you're never gonna get it. He's from Alcorn State.
Oh, name the most famous person from Alcorn State.
Quarterback for Tennessee.
What's his name?
Steve McNair.
There it is.
So, Donald Driver, Alcorn State, he was also made into a 1,000-yard receiver by Aaron Rodgers. Scrode, would you like to take a gander again at how many seasons north of 1,000 receiving yards Donald Driver had?
5.
Donald Driver had 7 seasons of 1,000-yard receiving.
God damn.
While he was in Green Bay.
I don't remember this.
Pretty good. So anyway, that was my little point that I needed to make on Green Bay.
I'm glad you got that out there to the podcast or the Asscast Nation.
Well, the reason I got it there is because we're going to go circle back to Kansas City now, and we have to talk about them. So one of Aaron Rodgers' receivers, one of his weapons last year. Oh, now
Marquez Valdez-Scantling.
I'm glad you did it. Is it MVS? Is that how they do it now?
Yeah.
MVS. So
I don't know if that's what he. I mean, I don't know if that's what he like goes by though. I don't know if he's like JFK or. Who else has 3 initials? RFK.
I think lazy people say MVS. So,
Well, I don't want to call them the wrong thing.
More things to edit out.
Give the man some dignity.
So, another point that I made on last week's podcast was the fact that the Kansas City Chiefs are fucked. And they're fucked for a couple reasons. Mainly because their division is insanely difficult. Second thing being is that their defense, they've got some real issues here on defense. I had asked Schwammy, I think on the last podcast, to pull this up, and it didn't happen. But now, you know what? Since he's not here and he's taking choo-choo trains out to Eureka Springs, Arkansas, now we can pull up this Chiefs.
Hey,
defense.
shout out to Lance and Jessica for getting married.
Oh, hashtag getting married.
Yeah, hashtag Fayetteville, Arkansas.
Hashtag Fort Smith.
Is that where it's at?
No.
Oh. Hot Springs, Arkansas, home of Bill Clinton.
Is that his official home, Hot Springs?
No, but there's a great King of the Hill. No, there's a great King of the Hill episodes where they go to Hot Springs and oh goddamn.
Bobby?
Bobby goes down with Hank's boss. God, I can't think of his name. And they go gambling, and it's a great episode. But yeah, Bill Clinton it says that he's from Hot Springs on the billboard.
So now I got to go look up where he's officially from.
We have computers in front of us.
We have presidentreference.com.
Yeah.
So okay, so here again, let's moving while you're doing that. Let's take a look at the Chiefs wide receiver core. Marquez? What'd you say?
Marquez Valdez-Scantling.
Marquez Valdez-Scantling. McCole Hardman, who was just on Jim Rome this
What a
week.
great interview that was.
It was a good interview. Juju Smith-Schuster, still, I don't even know if he's even 25 years old yet because he was one of the wide receivers ever coming in as he came in from USC. I think he was like 19 years old.
Yeah.
When he had declared for the
He has
draft.
a really cool story, too. Have you heard about, like, his background?
Juju's? No.
Yeah, he has a really cool story. Like, I think he grew up with, like, 15 kids in his house or something like that. And, like, he's just, like, the most positive dude ever. Like, I really like Juju.
Where'd you hear this?
I think it was when he got drafted. Like, I don't know. I don't like too many USC people, but he's a good one. Like, I like Juju.
Fair enough. So, one of the things we talked about last week about the receiving core, we mentioned the name Sky Moore, the rookie. And I don't know much about
I
Sky
did not
Moore.
mention him.
Well, he was mentioned, and the reason he was mentioned is that as we went through the roster of
Dad
the Chiefs
mentioned
wide
him.
receivers, No. He mentioned a hockey player.
No, other dad. Podcast dad mentioned him.
Oh, yes. Yeah. But we were told that Sky Moore, the new rookie wide receiver for the Kansas City Chiefs, was somebody that was potentially going to be a deep threat to replace Tyreek Hill. I'm seeing the depth chart right now, and he's not even listed as he's their number 4 wide receiver. Not to say that the Chiefs don't go 4 wide, but I'm wondering how much of an effect old Sky Moore can have if he's listed as the number 4 wide receiver for Kansas City.
I guess it could be maybe in Andy Reid is pretty good in the draft. Well, I mean, would you agree?
Yeah, I'd say he is.
So, I think Andy Reid's good in the draft. I think he might have found himself a little gem. If that's what he is, I have no idea. Like, we'll have to ask Shaway when he gets back from Thomas the Train Adventures. I don't know if he's going to pan out, but he could be, or it could be a plus for him. If defenses don't pay attention to him and he is what Kansas City thinks he is, look out.
So I think my argument would be this. So going back to last year and the year before, like we knew what Kansas City was. Like we knew that Tyreek Hill was the deep threat and defenses planned accordingly. When you looked at how defenses played Kansas City, they started, as far as the cornerbacks, the corners were at a minimum 12 yards behind the line of scrimmage.
Well, I think there's a difference between the 2 years that they played. Last year, Kelsey was the dominant focus of that offense.
Last year was because they couldn't figure out how to get the ball deep anymore.
Exactly. So it was Tyreek. Yeah, it was Tyreek in the first one where they were trying to figure him out. I mean, that was a great setup for that team, and I guess what's Josh Stone?
I don't know who Josh Stone is.
The fourth wide receiver.
Sky Moore.
Yeah, same guy.
Exactly.
Yeah, same. I was close. I don't know. I mean, maybe he presents that same option that Tyreek did. I don't think we just start discrediting Andy Reid now.
I mean, I guess fair. So we'll see how that works. I would give you here his specs for Sky Moore, who apparently can't spell his name correctly.
Is he a goddamn car? Specs?
Yes, based on let me give you his specs.
Do you have enough specs for me to smoke?
I don't, but I got some other things if you want them. So Sky Moore apparently spells his name with 2 Y's, which strike one. But wide receiver, 5'10", 195 pounds, coming from the wide receiver U, Western Michigan. We'll see. We will see. So that's the wide receiving core for Kansas City. My bigger concern is not even the wide receiving core. It is the defense. So
it's always the defense.
As I mentioned to you last podcast, now I'm going to go line by line since Schwamy is out on his choo-choo train out in Eureka Springs, Arkansas. Boop, boop. And we're going to talk about the names on this defense. So, rookie on the front end, George Karlaftis. Never heard of the guy, but he is a rookie. Where's he from? George Karlaftis, defensive end, 6'4", 265 pounds from Purdue. Oh, maybe I have heard of him.
Yeah, he's not too strange.
I mean, do we really know? So George Karlaftis on the front line, rookie that is somehow going to get to the quarterbacks in the AFC West. Also on the defensive line, you have Derek Nottie, Chris Jones. Chris Jones is a proven commodity. Frank Clark, also the same thing on your defensive line. Nick Bolton, average linebacker at best. Willie Gay Jr., maybe a little bit above average linebacker at best. And then we get into the secondary, and this is where shit gets really scary. So they got a cornerback named Rashad Fenton. I think I remember him.
Rashad Fentanyl.
Trent.
He puts the defenses to sleep.
Because he's a soothsayer?
Because he has fentanyl.
Drop him. Rashad Fenton, cornerback, and then the second rookie on the defense, Trent McDuffie, which I believe is a cornerback from Washington. Yes, he was their number 1 overall pick. But here's my concern. So he could be, speaking specifically of Trent McDuffie, he could be a great cornerback. But there was just a great cornerback drafted in the AFC West, and he didn't have the best season ever. Patrick Surtain over in Denver, he was drafted as either the number 10 or the 11 pick overall just a year or two ago.
Yeah.
And he, in my opinion, a much better player. And he is, I mean, God, he's got his work cut out for him in Denver because there's only so much you can do with the AFC West.
It is going to be the most fun division in football to watch. It has a feel of kind of the early teens AFC West. Just every team is powerful. Does defense really matter that much in that division?
I don't know anymore. Like, I think every team in that division is now capable of throwing up at least 30 points per game.
Easily.
And also giving up the same amount of points.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
I have no idea how to handicap the AFC West.
Does San Diego have the best defense?
Well, they're not San Diego.
Thank
you, Mr.
Oh, my Lord.
I would say it's either San Diego or Denver. Denver's defense is really good.
They just lost 2 years ago lost Von Miller.
Mm-hmm. But Denver's defense isn't going to have as much strain this year now that they got Russell Wilson.
True.
They're not going to be on the field every fucking fourth play.
Hopefully. I mean,
Russell Wilson he'll do some damage in Denver.
Jerry Jeudy, I brought him up last week.
Yes, because we talked about him getting arrested.
Is he available to play?
He is.
Okay.
He is.
Okay. I didn't know after last podcast. We left in limbo.
Jared, so Denver Broncos wide receiving core, pretty damn good actually. So Cortland Sutton, good wide receiver. Jerry Jeudy is listed as their number 2, but I mean I don't know if I totally agree with that. I think Jerry Jeudy's probably their number 1 at this point. I mean, if he's on the field. And then wide receiver number 3, Tim Patrick. I mean, but good. I mean, he's a good receiver, Tim Patrick is. So, I mean, there's some weapons. And then going to where, man, Denver's got 2 running backs. They split time last year with Melvin Gordon as officially the number 1 running back and Javonte Williams as basically their 1B. Javonte Williams is going to be their primary running back this year, and he is awesome.
I didn't pay enough attention. I have no idea.
So, Denver's going to be much better. I mean, if they were, I don't even know how many games they won last year. Oh, they won 7 games, and now they get Russell Wilson.
Are you telling me Russell Wilson is that much of an upgrade than Drew Lock?
You couldn't even say it with a straight face. That was awesome. Yes.
R.I.P. man.
Okay. So
Drew Lock, I do appreciate that you rap on the sidelines. Like, that was pretty cool. I mean, you're not very good, but you rap on the sidelines. I don't know what you're rapping. I'm maybe a Kendrick Lamar fan.
You want to talk about your what city did you say the Chargers were from? San Diego.
San Diego.
Would you like? You want to talk about their defense a little bit?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, well, I'm pitching to you.
Yeah, I want to hear it.
Oh, here we go, just line by line. So let's. There's some really good players here. So Joey Bosa, amazing linebacker. Also linebacker Drew Tranquil is really good.
From?
I don't know. Is he
Notre Dame, baby?
Is he really?
Yes.
I did not remember.
They got another Notre Dame boy on that defense too. And Nwosu?
I'm looking on Wusu. I don't see him, but that's not to say that's not.
Maybe I have it wrong. Never mind.
Fair enough. So anyway, like premier defensive players for San Diego, as you call them: Joey Bosa, Drew Tranquil, Khalil Mack, Asante Samuel.
They have
James.
Khalil Mack.
I mean, that's an incredible.
I forgot about that.
That is an incredible defense. So, and they should have gone so much farther last season, but their fucking coach is like a analytics crazy, uber aggressive person. They should have won the game at the end of the season.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
And they blew it. And it not really the team blew it, the coach blew it. And he blew it because of analytics. And I don't think he's going to change. But at the end of the day, I think they're going to be able to survive some of those weird analytical moves that their coach makes.
Brandon Staley.
Mm-hmm.
Nerd.
So, anything else football-wise you want to touch on?
Yeah, I mean, are you excited for, I guess, the Vegas Raiders?
I am excited because I don't know what's going to happen. So I feel like in a lot of football, you and I know well enough what's going to happen. The AFC West, I have no clue what's going to happen. And some of the folks that I follow on gambling websites and that talk about betting, man, I don't know how they have any confidence in betting on any of that stuff. I have no clue. I would say that there is probably a coin flip chance that the Chargers could win the division with the Chiefs. And as far as like playoff prospects, I mean, there is a possibility that the Chargers, Chiefs, and maybe another team in that division could take care of the wild card. They could get 3 teams into the playoffs. So, man, looking at who is projected to be the worst team in that division, which is the Las Vegas Raiders, I think they're 8-1 to win the division, and their defense is, I mean, they got a decent defense, and they're awesome on. Well, I don't know if they're awesome on offense, but they're going to be. I mean, they're formidable at offense. They can score with anybody.
I just went to my betting website to look up the odds, and I automatically just went to the craps table. Whoops. Yeah, I don't. I think Oakland is going to, or Las Vegas now. I think they finished second behind San Diego.
Man, we'll see. Patrick Mahomes is probably going to pull some rabbits out of his hat that you just don't see coming. But that, like I said, we've talked about it now for 2 podcasts. That defense is going to be an issue, and that schedule is going to be an issue.
I would not be surprised, and this is going to be our, I don't know if we do hot takes. I don't know.
We don't do hot takes.
We don't do hot. This is my lukewarm suggestion.
This is your hot dog water.
No, not hot dog water. No. This is just my lukewarm suggestion. Chiefs finish 4th in the AFC West.
I could see it happening.
Bet it up, boys and girls.
I don't know about all that. So, here in the coming weeks, Askcasters, we will talk. We're going to start digging a lot more into football, not only professional but college. We are not that far away from college football. It is close. So, there's some interesting storylines on the college side of things. I'm really excited to talk about. So Lincoln Riley landed in USC, and now USC being the most heavily bet on team to win the Pac-12, I think is interesting and fun to look at. I don't know if we want to talk about the realignments of conferences and teams leaving, but maybe we'll get into that. There's also there is a great prop bet that will allow you in college football to bet on either Alabama or Georgia to be the champions against the field of college football, which is paying minus 130, which is a pretty interesting bet. That means you have to saddle your horsey to either Georgia or Alabama, which are good bets. Alabama, man, they're going to be good again, and they have the best. I'm going to throw some money down, Heisman-wise, on Will Anderson Jr., their linebacker. He was the best player. Man, he was close last year to being the best player in college football. This year, him and C.J. Stroud are going to battle it out for best player in college football, but I'm getting a little bit lost on all the things we can talk about. Are you hopping in?
Bryce Young still is he's still there at Alabama.
Yep.
So C.J. Stroud, I don't think he's the number one quarterback going into the next year's draft.
Man, so college football is going to be fun. You'll learn, Ask Casters, that we got some Notre Dame allegiances in this.
Number one class in 2023 and 2024 right now.
Recruiting class?
Yeah.
But an absolutely brutal schedule coming up, including, I believe, Ohio State right out of the
start
gate.
off the, yeah.
Yeah. So.
In the shoe.
Oh, man. And then there's a couple other weird things in college football that we might start talking about. There's a transfer for Oklahoma that is going to be their quarterback. He used to be his coach at a different place before he transferred, and so is he going to be able to fill that position at Oklahoma and make them a conference champion again or beyond? And then Florida, I'm just going to put this out there now. Florida is probably going to have one of the most dynamic quarterbacks in all of college football that nobody knows yet, and we can talk about him because I think he's going to pop up on the radar a little bit. And Clemson's 14-1 to win the college championship, and it's all because we don't know if DJ Wongale can play that position or not. So anyway, go ahead.
So this is the deepest recruiting drive we'll have from me the whole year.
So you're talking about
DJ Uiagalelei. I think I'm pronouncing his name right. So on one of the seasons of what's the show on Netflix? Quarterback number one.
But first you'll have to unlock your device.
What the fuck?
That was weird.
All right. Fucking Google's talking to us.
DJ.
Oh yeah. So on quarterback number one, DJ Uiagalelei was in high school, and he was playing against IMG Academy, I believe, in
California.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he was playing against them.
Right.
And he did not look good. I think as far as a player goes, he did not look comfortable. When he had to move around the pocket, and I know that's one of his strengths, I guess, he didn't look comfortable. He was missing throws, kind of what we saw this season coming from him. I think he was over touted as a recruit. I don't think he's the shit like everyone thinks he is.
I don't know if everybody thinks he is anymore. I think a lot of people.
Well, as coming in, they did.
So I think after his performance last season, a lot of people jumped off the bandwagon for Clemson. And when you look now, granted, at the end of the season, Clemson started winning some games, but they were not scoring a lot of points. If we look through the entire season for Clemson in its entirety last season, they were brutal. I mean, they were tough, and there's a little bit of feedback from people in Clemson that are saying that now he's lost 30 pounds. I'm speaking specifically to the quarterback. So maybe that's going to actually help him a little bit to be a little bit more mobile. I mean, he had some moments when he was a high schooler. You can see some of the things that he did where he was able to scramble out of the tackle box and make some plays. But if Clemson is going to have any prayer, he has to make basically a 180. He doesn't need to make like a gradual improvement. He needs to be a completely different person coming into this season.
Which I'm not saying, I'm not a recruiter at all for football. But, I mean, maybe he was a 5-star recruit for his physical ability and not his physical prospects and not his ability to complete passes. Maybe I don't know. I'm not a recruiter. I'm not Dabo Sweeney, but I see a dude who just struggles. And maybe the 30 pounds lost does help him, but
Yeah, so again, to that point, so we'll see where Clemson lands. I think there's some mixed feedback on that quarterback that we're talking about. I actually had him before the beginning of last season. I betted on him to win the Heisman just because of some of the touting that he had coming into that year. And I have not completely given up on hope on him. But people as educated in college football as Doug Kazarian at ESPN from Daily Wager, he said that he doesn't think, again, taking it maybe a little bit out of context, he's not completely certain DJ Owongolongole is going to make it as the starter throughout the entire year. So that would be a pretty big shift in what's going on in Clemson because he is definitely going to go into the season as number one. And we've seen it from Dabo Sweeney before. He will pull the trigger on guys pretty quick. So what at the beginning of the season, could Dabo Sweeney decide that he's going to go with a split platoon at quarterback right out of the gate at game one? Absolutely possible.
Did he, was it Deshaun Watson that he did that with? And he did that. It was either him or...
I feel like Deshaun Watson was pretty solidified.
Not his freshman year, though. Or am I thinking of, the blonde-haired, blue-eyed?
Oh, Trevor?
Yeah.
Trevor Lawrence?
Yeah.
Trevor Lawrence came in for an injured quarterback, and he stepped in immediately, and he never lost it. And Dabo Sweeney...
Maybe that's what I'm thinking about.
Dabo Sweeney never subbed out after that. And I think that quarterback...
He transferred, right?
I think to Oklahoma or something like that was my recollection.
Somewhere. Yeah.
So anyway, long-winded way of telling you guys, Askcasters, is that there's some different things coming here in the next couple of weeks, and we can speak to some different sports. And again, we can speak to whatever. Hold on, I'm gonna sneeze here. Hold on. Woo, Jeopardy. So anyway, I think I just blew Scrode's eardrums out. Let's put a bow on this one, Scrode. Let's talk. I'll let you wrap it up. Whatever you feel to wrap it up today.
You watched season 3 of Stranger Things last night. You watched episode 1, season 4 today. How you feeling?
It's one of the best produced shows ever. In the nostalgia of all those different things you see, from the old Coca-Cola can to the old U-Haul truck to the old this and the old that, and they've done such a good job of just bringing back things that I'm a 1983 kid, and man, some of those things, like I can't necessarily say that I remember every single one of those references that they make, but man, it's good to see those always jog your memory, and those the storyline's great. They continue to progress that storyline along into season 4, and the characters are great. Winona Ryder, I like her. I think there's a lot of characters. Millie Bobby Brown, or however you say her.
Millie
Bobby Brown.
Yeah.
She does a good job, and yeah, it's good. I'm going to try to finish that up here after the podcast, actually.
So I don't know. I forgot where I saw this, but it showed the actor who played Jim Hopper.
Mm-hmm.
His name is Dave Harbour, and it showed him from season 1 to when he's going to be in a Russian prison. Yeah, I think you already know that.
Yeah.
his body transformation, holy shit, that dude put in work. He went from having a super dad bod to being hulked out.
Well, I will say this. I was a little disappointed going into season 4 when the status of Mr. Hopper was uncertain. When they previewed the first episode and you go into the beginning of episode 1 on season 4, they do the credits on the front end. And his name was on the front end of the credits.
Yeah.
A little disappointing.
Well, and I forgot just how season 3 ends, but isn't there a scan shot to the camp in Russia, and they show Hopper nailing away at something?
I don't remember that.
How many beers deep were you last night?
I may not have been totally dialed in.
Well, that's exciting for you to watch, and you just finished The Wire, correct?
I did finish The Wire.
How'd that go? Where does that rank in your top 5 shows of all time?
I don't know if I'm gonna put it top 5.
Whoa! Are you serious?
Yeah, I think towards the end it started to lose me a little bit. Top 10 I think is fair, but top 5 I'd probably have to go back to the drawing board and reevaluate that. I think you had kind of got my hopes up that the final season 5, was going to be really, really good. I wasn't a huge fan of how some of those episodes were. Not the very nice thing at the end. Yeah, they tied in and finished
The
up
scene with oh shit, Marlowe in his corner.
Yeah, I mean that was okay. There were some things that made sense that you wanted to see at the end of that, but I don't know. Some of those, when we lost some of those characters through season 2, 3, and 4, I don't know.
So I don't know. It's the summertime, so I feel like we can fill up a little bit of just some pop culture here. So I was watching. So I think his name's Michael Williams, the guy who plays Omar. He is on.
Isn't he dead?
Yeah, he's dead. But he has a bunch of shows on the Vice network, Vice News, or so. I don't know. It's on Hulu. And one tackles. He does the black market stuff. I think it's called Black Market. Incredible show. Give it a watch. But he also does a show, and I forget. I think it was just a Wire documentary, a docuseries. And remember in season 5, and I think in season 4. The little girl who, she had a very thick accent, she was a squat kind of girl, and she had long dreads.
Maybe a little bit, yeah.
So she is from Baltimore and, was actually in prison and, in the system. And I don't know if she was in the system while she was working on The Wire, but, and I think there's more to that story. I think The Wire had, because I think, Michael Williams, I think, I'm going to get his name wrong. The porn bots are going to kill me. But the guy who played Omar, I think he did some time too. It's very interesting. And he does a great job connecting with the people on the black market. Check it out. It's a good show.
Well, it's a good show. I mean, it's definitely worth watching. So, anything else you want to tie a bow on today?
That's all I got, Chief.
Fair enough. So, I'll just leave it at this, guys. Again, appreciate the downloads from everywhere, domestically and internationally. We're doing our best to make the technology better and make the performance a little bit better and make the content a little better. We are still open again to talking about any of the content that you would want. So if you have anything that you would like discussed a little bit more in detail regarding a specific person, a specific team, whatever it is, just holler at us at the different socials that we got. We try to lean you to our Twitter, which is at AskCasters, at ASSCASTERS. So please try to find us there. Give us a like if you like us. And then we will probably see you here. The sports calendar is only going to get better from here. We're going to get through these doldrums of mid-July, and we're going to actually start having some things pick up here in just a little
I've
bit.
been destroying it on Grand Theft Auto.
Yeah?
Just killing it.
Yeah.
It's coming to the point where people try to mess with me when I'm doing my errands, and they don't like the results.
So I think what he's telling you, Askcasters, is we need some different topics to talk about immediately to pull him away from his PlayStation or his Xbox. So, again, appreciate the listenership. Scrode, appreciate you.
Hey, buddy, appreciate you.
We will do this again in a week.
Shaway, have fun with your lady. We miss you. And C-Dangle, we miss you too. I think you were just too hungover to make it today.